All right. So let's start it off. Welcome back. All right. So 4.1 and 4.2. 4.1 and 4.2. That technically goes with slope intercept form. We need to. So slope and intercept form. Now, it's really important to understand this. In the instructions, it will say, hey, put this in slope intercept form. I will not tell you slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So you need to know when I say slope intercept form, I'm talking about this thing, y equals mx plus b, okay? So a couple of ways. The first question is usually really easy. I just give you if the slope was, I don't know, 3 over 2, and the coordinate point is, or not a coordinate point, and I give you the y-intercept is 4, 0, 4. So in this situation, it's literally just plug in what you have. There's no trick to it. Y equals, this, since this is the y-intercept, that is also your b value, and since this is a slope, this is your m value. So y equals 3 over 2, x plus 4. So of course that's a straightforward one. That's the freebie. If you don't get that right, you have a lot of trouble with the rest of the test going on. Second one is I'll give you either a graph or 2 points. They're technically the same way you do it. So let's say if you got 2 comma negative 13 and negative 3 comma 12. In here, in this situation, you need to find the slope first. So it's going to be negative 13 minus 12, or I should say this. You got to use this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to find the slope. So that's going to be negative 13 minus 12 over 2 minus negative 3. Remember, that's the same thing as 2 plus 3. Negative 25 over positive 5 is going to reduce down to negative 5. Remember, reduce the fractions if possible. It makes your life a lot easier. Then from there, you're going to rewrite it. You want y equals mx plus b. So you have the slope, but you still need the b. So it's going to be, I'll plug into the first one, but you can use either one. Guys in the back? Negative 13 equals negative 5 times 2 plus b. Remember, we don't know what b is, so it stays a variable. Negative 13 equals negative 10 plus b plus 10 on both sides. It's going to be negative 3 equals b. Reminder, the final answer is the equation. Please don't just stop here. You will lose a point. You will lose a point if you stop right here, even though you did all the hard part. Y equals negative 5, x minus 3. So make sure you finish it off, okay? The other way I could give it to you is in function form. Just a reminder, when I give it to you in function form, so if I say f of negative 4 equals 5, and f of 2 equals, let's say, 2. So just make sure when you write it in function form, the input is the one inside the parentheses, and the output is the one it equals to. So you should rewrite this as negative 4 comma 5 and 2 comma 2. Find the slope, 5 minus 2 over negative 4 minus 2. That is going to be 3 over negative 6, which is negative 1 over 2. Boys, we're going to sit down. Jackson, do you have to hand over the camera, or are we going to play with all day? Thank you. Okay. We're continuing. After you find the slope, you're going to plug it in using one of the points. I'll use the top one, but you could use the bottom one just as fine. 5 equals negative 4. Oh. 5 equals a negative a half times negative 4 plus b. 5 equals a negative half times 4. Remember, if you have your calculator, you could do so negative 1 divided by 2 times negative 4. So negative 1 divided by 2 divided times negative 4. That ends up being positive 4 over 2 or 2. Minus 2 minus 2. 3 equals b. Don't forget the final thing so you don't lose the last point. Negative 1/2 x plus 3. You? One of you need to find them. Why? Oh. No. Find her later on your own time. All right. So 4.1 and 4.2 was point slope or slope intercept form. Now we're going to do point slope form. As a reminder, if you ask me during the test, hey, which equation is this? I'm going to tell you tough luck. Don't forget that. But it's going to be y minus y1, this is point slope form, equals m x minus x1. All right? So if I gave you just the point and the slope, so say point was like 4 comma negative 10, and the slope was like 2. That one's really easy because all you have to do is plug it in to solve. So y, remember, it's going to be minus negative 10. So because it's minus negative 10, it's actually plus 10 in our final answer, equals 2 x minus 4. So that one's a really easy one. Again, if you mess that up, you're going to have a tough time for the rest of the test. And then I'll give you progressively harder ones. Typically, the hardest version would be just give you a function version. So let's say f of negative 3 equals 10, and f of 4 equals 2. Remember, you have to find the slope. So first identify the points is negative 3 comma 10 and 4 comma 2. Let's find the slope. It's again that y2 minus y1 thing. So 10 minus 2 over negative 3 minus 4. Some of you might have a question. Doesn't matter which one I make the first one or the second one. Doesn't matter. 8 over negative 7. So here I can't simplify. But luckily in this situation, I don't really have to use the slope to give the final answer. I'll use the top question, but you could use either one. Y minus 10 equals negative 8 over 7 x plus 3. Okay. Now, 4.4, which is about standard form. Definitely the hardest of the three, or the most annoying of the three for sure. Capital AX plus capital BY equals capital C. So in this situation, you're making it into standard form. Usually, to make it into standard form, you have to just start off in point slope form. So let's say if I gave you m is 7. So m equals 7, and the parentheses is 4 comma 3. In this situation, it's going to be, first you have to start off in point slope form. So y minus 3 equals 7 x minus 4. Then we have to try our best to get y and x on one side and all the numbers on the other side. So I'm going to distribute the 7 to here and here. So y minus 3 equals 7x minus 28. Plus 3 minus 7x minus 7x minus 7x plus y equals negative 28 plus 3, negative 25. Now, let's say if I gave you it as a couple of points, let's say 2 comma 6, and let's do 4 comma 7. So again, we got to make this into a slope. 6 minus 7 over 2 minus 4. Negative 1 over negative 2. Double negative makes it positive. 1 over 2. Okay, that's my slope. I'll use a point. Remember, I'll use either one. I'll use the top one for this example. I'll use the bottom one for this example. So y minus 7 equals 1/2 x minus 4. What? No. On your own time. 1/2. Yeah, on your own time. It's my time. X minus 4. Okay? Now, the problem here is I have a fraction, and that's kind of annoying. So you could do, what you can do is multiply everything by a 2. So I'm going to multiply it here, I'm going to multiply it here, and I'm going to multiply the half by 2. The reason I chose 2 is because this is the denominator's 2. Now, this inside parenthesis is safe from the distribution, so do not affect this. It stays x minus 4. So it becomes 2y minus 14. People forget to multiply that one. 2 times 1 over 2 is just 1. X minus 4. 2y minus 14 equals x minus 4. I'm going to move the x to the left side. Negative x plus 2y minus 14 equals negative 4. And I'm going to move my whole number, which is 14 in this case, to this side, which gives me the final answer. Negative x plus 2y equals 10. Remember, with standard form, your answer should be whole numbers. So let's say if you got to this point and your answer is not whole number, again, you can multiply by the decimal or the denominator, and I will fix that. The last section is 4.5, and that's the parallel and perpendicular questions. So if I gave you some information like, hey, here's a point. I want a line that goes to the point negative 9, comma 12. And the equation is 5x minus 10y equals 3. Please give me the parallel one, and please give me the perpendicular one. So in this case, I'm going to need to find the slope. Right now, I do not know the slope for this, okay? So to find the slope, I need to rewrite this into a form that has slope. Typically, we write it in y equals mx plus b form. So I want to get the y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. So negative 10y equals negative 5x plus 3. Then, what I'm going to do is divide the y away from the y. So I'm going to divide negative 10. Remember, both things get negative 10. But in this scenario, I'm not too worried about that, because really all I care about, negative 5 divided by negative 10, is 1/2. The only thing I really care about is the slope. So I found my slope right here. That's the only thing I really care about. So let's say if it's parallel. So I have a parallel line here. I'm going to use the slope 1/2. But if I can go look for perpendicular, I have to do the negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal is going to be flipping the fraction and switching the sign. So it's going to become negative 2/1 or just negative 2. For this, you do y equals mx plus b form. So we have our point here, and we're just going to do each one. So 12 equals 1/2 times negative 9 plus b. This is a fraction. On your test, I'll try to avoid fractions like in your answer. But 12 equals, or this is a decimal, I should say, 4.5 plus b plus 4.5 plus 4.5. This is going to be 16.5 equals b. Please don't forget the final actual answer is going to be y equals 1/2 x plus 16.5. Next one over here, perpendicular. Perpendicular, again, doing the same thing. You're just using this slope this time. So 12 equals negative 2, negative 9, plus b. 12 equals negative 2 times negative 9, positive 18, plus b. Subtract 18 on both sides. Negative 6 equals b. Since negative 6 equals b, remember, always show the final answer, which is the equation. Negative 2x minus 6. There's going to be one more section on the test, which is just comparing two slopes. So what I'm going to give you is an equation here, and you're going to tell me if it's parallel or perpendicular to each other. So say equation 1 was y equals 8x minus 5. And line 2 was, let's do negative 8x plus y equals 2. So in this situation, you got to figure out if it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So right now, the top one is good. I could tell the slope is 8. So I could tell the slope is 8. But the bottom one I have to rewrite in order to make it work. So I'm going to do that by doing plus 8x plus 8x. So y equals 8x plus 2, which now I can see that the slope is also 8. M equals 8. Since they both equal 8, I can say they're parallel. Now that's parallel. If I ask you another one like this, so if I give you another one, y equals negative 2x plus 5, y equals positive 2x plus 3. Let's give you a third one. Y equals 1/2 x minus 4. In this one, I might ask you, I'll give you 3 of them, which ones of these are parallel or perpendicular to each other? Can you point it out? In this situation, the only one that has a relationship, 3 and 4, while they're negative, they're not reciprocals. So number 3 and number 4 has no relation. So then look at 3 and 5. 3 and 5, between 3 and 5, the slope was negative 2, and the slope here is 1/2. These two are negative reciprocals to each other. So I can say 3 and 5 are perpendicular. Okay. When Ariel comes back, okay? So when 3 and 5, these are perpendicular. Okay? All right. Hopefully this video helps you out. Yeah, that's it.